Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett, Republican member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good morning to you. As always, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me on, Markie.
You and I have talked about this conflict at length for the past year. Israel has not listened to much of what the United States or the White House has had to say. Does this letter, does this ultimatum change that, you think?
Well, I guess it's their proverbial line in the sand, but the reality is that, Netanyahu didn't want American troops there, boots on the ground or whatever, because, of course, that would cause a lot of harm, I believe, just like it did in Afghanistan. Our rules of engagement are horrible. That's what got 13 brave Americans killed. They don't need somebody checking back before they can pull the trigger on a terrorist. And I think that it's misdirected. This letter is because, we sent aid into Gaza. I voted against it because I said it would just be stolen. And that's exactly what's happened in the past. And the leaders of Hamas are not living in Gaza. They're living in Qatar or Qatar or however you say it. And so I just wish we would let them fight their war. They came over this thing would be over right now if Hamas would lay down their guns.
And let me ask you, sir, is the White House able to even, talking about this letter, is the White House able to even halt arms shipments to Israel on this without Congress approval? Like, how does this work?
They shouldn't, no, ma'am, because it was a congressional approved apparatus, if you will. And so, but I wouldn't put anything past them. An executive order, we sent money into Ukraine and didn't have congressional approval. And so I wouldn't put it past them to be able to do that. But I would hope that they would heed Congress's wishes, because that was bipartisan, that they did send it in there and it was voted on. And yeah, you're correct. They would probably have to get our approval. But here it is so late in their tenure. I could see them doing something and knowing Congress could not get back in time to reverse that course.
And I want to play a bit of sound for you, Congressman Burchett. His State Department spokesperson, Matthew Miller, was asked about the timing of this deadline. I mean, 20 days out from our November election now, and whether the election was a factor in this. Take a listen.
It's not a factor at all. We didn't think it was appropriate to send a letter and just say this has to happen overnight. We give them make clear there's a short window in which we want to see changes because the humanitarian situation is so dire on the ground, but it is appropriate to give them some time to work through the different issues and find ways to get the level of trucks, get the level of food, water, medicine back up to acceptable levels.
If it's about giving Israel more time, why punt this until after the election? What's your take on the timing of this?
Well, the timing, of course, is very suspect, Markie. You're exactly right. This the State Department is a toothless tiger in this whole manner. I've said many times we need to probably defund the State Department. That if you want to see some real left-wing leanings in our nation and our government, it's in our State Department. They've undermined a lot of things that have gone on in our country and around the world. And I suspect this is another one they'll fumble if they're allowed to. I don't think Israel's going to pay much attention to this. I think they know there's going to be a new administration they're going to have to deal with, and they're not putting much faith in this. I would say they'd probably disregard it.
Well, I have to end it there, but Congressman Tim Burchett, thank you so much for your time, as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Markie.